Welcome back to Rich Words Music, where today we're looking at this. It's the 2024 spec Vintage ReIssued V100PCS in a rather beautiful plain top cherry sunburst finish. Now, you might be looking at this guitar and thinking, okay, it's just another affordable single cut copy sort of guitar. And in a way, you're kind of right, because it does do that thing. But this specific guitar does have one significant tonal twist up its sleeve, as I'll get to. And as I said, it is new specs for 2024. So effectively, it's a new guitar model, and that's how we're going to look at it today. Now, what I'm going to do in this video is first tell you about the specifications and features of this instrument. Then we'll play it in as many different musical styles as I can manage, and at the end I'll give you some more in-depth opinions and give you my thoughts on this guitar, because I've had it for quite a few weeks, I've played it quite a lot in that time, and there is a lot to say about it, so stick around for that too. But first, let me tell you about the specs, the features, and the basic information pertaining to this specific guitar. And what do you get for your money? Well, I should say that on the Vintage Guitars official website, this guitar has a retail price of 489 British pounds, so sub $500, sub 500 euros as well. I've only found this guitar online at one dealer in Germany at time of filming this video, and they have it for 480 euros. So that's about the price you're going to be paying for this specific guitar. And what do you get for your money? Well, first off, you get this beautiful cherry sunburst finish, and it's a plain top too, so we don't have a flamed maple top on this guitar. What we do have is a solid maple cap, and we have a mahogany body too, and for those interested, we have a mahogany neck as well, so the correct woods for this style of guitar. I must say that I love the cherry sunburst finish on this one. I love the fact that it's a plain top too, so we don't have the flame maple going on, not too much bling. It's really understated and just looks really elegant. I really like it. So we've got that mahogany body and that maple cap then, but that tonal twist that I mentioned at the beginning of the video comes via the pickups. In this guitar we have a pair of Wilkinson W90 SK P90s, and they're stacked or double coil P90s. So while they should give us the tonal characteristics of a P90 with all its mid-range honk and its raucous punk rock aggression, it should also mean that the double coils give us a bit of humbucking operation too, which means that we shouldn't get the unwanted extra noise that you can find yourselves getting with P90s when you up those gain levels. We'll find out more in the playing part of the video, but that is the tonal twist hidden within the V100PCS. Now, these two pickups each have their own volume and tone control, and we have your traditional single cut tunematic bridge stop bar tailpiece operation here, alongside a pretty standard three-way selector switch too. If I flick us over to the back of the guitar, you can see that we've got an offset neck heel joint here that gives us pretty decent upper fret access, especially in comparison to a traditional Les Paul style of guitar. So that's the body of the guitar, and the binding continues up to the neck on this instrument. Now, we've got a mahogany neck here with a rosewood fingerboard with 22 medium jumbo frets. If you're a fan of Gibsons and Les Pauls, you'll be familiar with the rest of it here. We have a 43mm Graph Tect NuBone nut here. The fingerboard radius is 12 inches, and we have a scale length of 24 3/4 inches, which is 628mm. Now, the neck profile on this guitar is what Vintage call their Vintage Soft C profile. It's a really comfortable medium to slightly chunky feeling neck with a poly finish too. And just moving up to the headstock, we can see that now traditional vintage headstock there with 6 Grover tuners as well. So this is the Vintage V100PCS, and what we're going to do next is play it in as many different musical styles as I can for you, so hopefully there's going to be a riff for everybody. Now, my rig for today is going to be my Hughes & Kettner Black Spirit 200 head with a couple of pedals. We'll start on the amp's clean channel with a pretty neutral clean sound and just a smidgen of reverb, and I'll play some pop and some folk and some country and maybe some indie too. Then I'll kick in my Greer Lightspeed overdrive pedal, and we'll play some indie and some alternative rock. After that, we'll go to the amp's crunch channel and play some AC/DC and some classic rock stuff. Then we'll get a bit heavier and heavier. We'll go up to the amp's lead channel and play some harder rock and some punk rock too. And finally, we'll go down to the amp's clean channel again. I'll kick in my Rev G3 distortion pedal. We'll tune the V100 down to drop D and see if we can't get us a bit of metal and a bit of chug out of these double coil P90 style pickups. Enough talk then. This is the Vintage V100PCS. Let's play it now, and we'll speak in more detail about it afterwards. Okay then, so that was the Vintage ReIssued V100PCS, and I hope you enjoyed the playing and the tones, and perhaps just staring at this beautiful plain top cherry sunburst finish. It's such a lovely looking guitar. Leave me a comment down there telling me what you think of this instrument and whether or not you think that these stacked P90s are as good as authentic P90s. Do they have the mojo for you? Let me know your thoughts down there. But anyway, what I'm going to do now is let you know my thoughts about this instrument, because I've played it quite a lot since I've had it. It's a pretty addictive guitar, and it's become one of my main go-tos to pick up here at home when I'm just noodling away on evenings and weekends and stuff like that. But if you're interested in maybe buying this guitar, there's going to be a few things that you consider when choosing if this is really going to be one for you. And the first thing that I think you'd look at would be, well, your first impressions of the instrument, because those are always very important. When I got this guitar out the box, I was very pleased indeed, because it is a really, really nice guitar to look at. And for me personally, it's a very different guitar to the rest of the instruments that I currently own. Now, I think a lot of you might be thinking that Cherry Sunburst is kind of, yeah, it's a little bit traditional, maybe even tending towards a bit boring. But for me personally, most of my guitars are blue or possibly green these days as well. And this guitar just looks very different to me, and it's certainly an eye catcher. And when you put this guitar on with a strap and have it stood up, you kind of feel like a rock star of yore. It's that kind of feeling that I got, at least. So a pretty cool looking instrument too. And as soon as I picked it up, I realized that it has that proper Les Paul weight as well. This specific guitar weighs 3.86 kilograms, which is about 8 pounds 8. So it's reassuringly heavy, not a backbreaker, not a boat anchor, not too heavy, but it has that Les Paul weightiness to it, and it feels authentic in that regard. Apart from that, as soon as I picked up this guitar, I realized that I was playing an authentic single cut sort of instrument. You've got decent fixtures and fittings, courtesy of the Grover tuners, the Wilkinson pickups, and so on. And you've got this really nice mahogany poly finished neck as well. It feels like the real deal. Now, in terms of build quality of the guitar, everything on this one is beyond reproach, no complaints whatsoever. However, there is one small caveat I should mention at this point, and that's that this guitar was sent to me by Music Vine, Vintage's German distributors and partners, so this guitar has had, of course, a decent setup before it found its way to me. But anyway, if you're looking to buy a guitar like this, you'll want to get a setup done when you buy it new anyway. You should always budget in for a setup on a new guitar, whether it's 500 euros or 5,000 euros. That's my philosophy anyway. But in terms of the build quality, this guitar really does feel top notch. The finish has been done really well. There are no blemishes anywhere to speak of. The Grover tuners do their job very, very well indeed. The Wilkinson pickups, the electronics and so on, everything works without any problems whatsoever. So full marks there too. And when we move across to the playability, well, this guitar plays as well as many other single cuts that I've played in my time, including some that cost considerably more. Now, for me personally, I'd always choose a satin finished neck over a poly finished neck, but the neck on this one's not particularly sticky or anything like that. And the profile of this one is very comfortable for me, makes it very easy to play all the way down from the first few frets all the way up to the top. Not that I'm there that much either. Now, the body of this guitar is very comfortable to wear too, and it's a slightly tweaked body compared to Gibson, presumably for legal reasons also. And in particular, you'll notice that we've got this offset heel there on the back to give us better upper fret access too. But the shape of the guitar is just slightly different. You'll notice that the lower cutaway here is a tiny bit more pointed than on a Gibson, for example, and we've got a slightly different shape here as well, and there's a bit more information about that on the Vintage official website too. But in terms of playability, if you love your single cuts, well then this one is going to do the job. It feels right. It's a really nice guitar to play. The other important thing that we have to discuss, of course, is the tones. Now, in this guitar we have what looks like single coil P90 soap bar pickups, but they're actually stacked, so they're double coils as well. And while that should remove some of the hum that we don't want with more gain, it could also result in these pickups sounding slightly different to authentic P90s. And I have to say that in my experience, I think it does a little bit. I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing, although if you're someone who really, really wants the spank and the pure raucous roar of a P90, then only a P90 is going to do. These ones offer a more rounded experience. They're a little bit more polite, they're a little bit thicker sounding, and they do handle high gain with a little more restraint. So if you want that, it's going to be perfect for you. And these are fantastic all-round pickups, and I thought that they excelled for pretty much every style of music. Starting with the clean tones, we had lovely classic sort of warm cleans on the neck pickup. The bridge pickup has a nice spanky bite to it as well, but where it was at for me was with the two pickups on together, and that was just a perfect sort of sonic territory for me for playing chords, for playing single notes, for arpeggios, for just noodling away in any genre, and adding a bit of reverb as well just for some more ambient stuff just sounded wonderful. Really, really nice tonality. It became apparent straight away that the bridge pickup is significantly quieter than the neck pickup on this guitar, so that might be something you'll have to make arrangements for, or you could try and get a shim in there to raise the bridge pickup a little bit as well, but that's something that you might want to think about if it could be a problem for you. Moving up into crunch territory with the light speed pedal, we got some amazing indie rock tones out of this guitar, and we got some lovely alternative rock tones too. Beautiful clarity across all 6 strings with this instrument, and really nice P90-esque tones too. And that continued when we went to the amp's crunch channel and did the AC/DC sort of generic classic rock riffs. This guitar is really nice and really aggressive for that sort of music. It excels for heavier rock and punk rock as well. Really, really clear for palm muting and stuff like that. I could imagine playing a punk gig with this guitar no problem whatsoever. In fact, the only part of the playing bit where I thought it wasn't 100% at home was when we got the Rev G3 on. It just sounded like these pickups were a little bit too classic and low output for that style of music. They will do drop D metal, they do manage that no problem at all, and you do get a great clarity from them, but they don't have that kind of aggressive oomph that you might want from a more modern, higher output, probably humbucking pickup. But overall, for 99.9% of tonal jobs, you'll get the job done with these pickups, and they're very sweet sounding about it too. Very, very high marks for me in terms of tonalities with this guitar. But if you've been watching this video and you're into the idea of this, but you want to know what else is out there, well, I would say check out the rest of the Vintage V100 lineup first, because they have this sort of DNA of a guitar with so many different options, different finishes available, different pickup combinations, and different pickups too. Now, this is the stacked P90s, but they have standard authentic single coil P90 versions too. They have standard 2 humbucker versions, they have a crazy 3 humbucker version as well, and they also have some V100 with Bigsby's too. And my secret V100 tip would be the Vintage V100 in wine red, a video of which I did a year or so ago, which has Wilkinson mini humbucking pickups, and that guitar was a revelation to me. So if you're looking for something a little bit different, as these are, then check out those mini humbuckers too, because that is a fantastic instrument for around a similar sort of price point. Now, if you're looking for affordable to mid-priced Les Paul style instruments, of course the natural partner there is going to be Epiphone guitars. For a standard 2024 model, you're probably going to pay slightly more than 500 euros, dollars or pounds for an instrument like that, except if you're looking for one of the Les Paul classics. But the modern Epiphones are very, very good guitars indeed. I haven't seen at the moment that they do a standard Les Paul with 2 P90s, but they do have an Epiphone Les Paul special out at the moment that has 2 standard single coil P90 pickups. That's going to have a flatter, slimmer body than this guitar as well, and is probably going to be lighter too, but that's definitely an option if you're into this kind of thing. Now, if you're looking for something even more affordable than an Epiphone, for example, well, a brand like Harley Benton is going to be your friend. Their SC range of single cuts has a bunch of different models available with different pickups, different body woods, different finishes and so on. And I have another personal recommendation there. Check out my old video on the SC 450, which is a gold top with 2 P90 pickups. That is another wonderful guitar, and that costs about 1/3 of the price of the Vintage, so a wonderful instrument if you're on a budget. And finally, if you've got a bit more money than this and you want to try something just a little bit different but with similar sort of DNA, then I could recommend that you try the rather wonderful PRS SE McCarty Standard SC 594. That's a really, really good guitar, and I hope to get my hands on one of those fairly soon at some point. Overall though, I'm really, really impressed with the 2024 spec V100PCS. It's a really authentic feeling single cut that plays fantastically, that sounds great, feels really good, and just does the business for me in any respect. So if you've got about $500, euros or pounds to give out for a guitar like this, and you want a mahogany body and a maple cap and a mahogany neck too to be more authentic, well, you should really give the V100 a try and put it at the top of your shortlist to check out. Now, of course, this specific model has these stacked P90 pickups. Those won't be to everyone's tastes, but there are other vintage V100 models available with standard single coil P90s or with traditional humbucking pickups too. And I happen to think that these stacked P90s are some of the best pickups out there. They're super versatile, they've got a character and personality all of their own, and they just work for me in so many different musical contexts. But that's the beautiful thing about guitars. We're all a bit different, we all want something different, and with the vintage you really do have the chance to try out different options and get the one which works best for you. But anyway, I hope this video has answered all of the questions that you might have had about the 2024 spec V100PCS, but if there's anything else you want to know, drop me a line down there in the comments and I'll try to answer to the best of my ability. And if you're still around, it would really make my day if you wanted to like the video, or maybe even sub to my little channel, because that really does help. But that's been it for today's video then. I've been Rich for Rich Words Music, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.